It's yet another day, a beautiful, beautiful evening. Thank you so much for joining us for the evening farm drive with me, Jackie Mokamakeka Makawa. Nimeingia ndani ya studio and as usual we want to talk matters to do with farming, sustainable food systems, and the whole of this week we'll be talking about the climate action, a call to action on various ways of mitigating and adapting to the adverse effects of climate. You had the interview we had with the livestock keepers. I asked one of the farmers, they've been told to reduce the number of livestock that they keep as a way of changing their ways of living and adapting to the climate change. And it was like, hell no, we cannot dare even if someone has 10 cows and another one has 100 cows, if the cows that die, they'll die. But that was a conversation that went well, and we really learned a lot from the various kinds of changes that farmers are taking up as a way of dealing and adapting to the adverse effects of climate change. So today it's another day, and yes, we have another topic that is still touching on climate action, and we want to talk about our food systems, because most of the time when you talk about climate change, the agriculture part, yes, it has been impacted, but how do we then what conversations do we need to have in order to associate the food systems in the whole climate mitigation and adaptation efforts? And I'm joined by one Kevin Mutai, who is a climate champion and environmentalist. He's shared a little bit with me about the various projects that he's worked on. Probably I'll allow him to, first of all, join into the discussion. Introduce yourself, Kelvin, and let your audience know you a little bit.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Kevin Mutai, and I live in Eldoret in a place called Soy, and I'm environmentalist and also a climate champion. I started doing this since a long time ago because I was living in Nairobi the time I was living in the village after seeing the effect of climate change in different area. That is the time I decided, let me join this field despite that I have a profession in medical. I did a medical laboratory science in KMTC, but I decided to venture fully in advocacy and also championing for climate activism in my area, not only my area but also international. Yeah.
Action. Yes, as you've heard, Kevin is an environmentalist, and today's discussion we want to talk about associating our food systems in this whole climate adaptation and mitigation efforts. And before we even delve deeper into this discussion, remember you can follow us on our social media handles here on Facebook at Farmers Media. We are also on Twitter at farmers_media, and also you can follow us on our website at www.farmerswithaz.com. We are also live on online radio, that is Zeno Radio. You can download the Zeno Radio app and search for Farmers Media, click on it, and you get to listen to us live on the go wherever you are, in your car, in your office, on the farm. You can get this discussion. So food systems are highly complex and interconnected. If our grocery stores and kitchens are to have a future packed with packed shelves, we need to be able to make our food systems sustainable. And how do you make our food systems sustainable? Because there's a growing momentum of tangible action and commitments to transform our food system to be more healthy, sustainable, and resilient to climate and geopolitical shocks. As you know, there's the shocks that are being currently experienced across the country and even in Africa on the climate effects. The Russia war, Ukraine-Russia war, and they recently concluded, but still it's still there, but on a small scale, the COVID pandemic. So this is the discussion we want to have, and we need to understand exactly where we are coming from when we talk about associating our food systems to the ongoing efforts of climate adaptation and mitigation. So now, Kelvin, when you hear about linking food systems and climate adaptation, where are we at in terms of uh, having a good sustainable food that is healthy, and the changing in climates, because most of the farmers are now being told they need to diversify to grow crops that are climate resilient. Where are we at with in terms of linking our food systems with the climate, the current effects that are being felt on climate?
There are farmers in small scale and also some in large scale. And we have been having this problem of people depending on only like maize, which usually take like 1 year to mature. And we have, that's why I think a lot of people have been going around say we need to have like a smart agriculture where we need to have like those crops and uh, crops which will mature very very fast so that we can have like we don't have like people depend only on maize, knowing that climate change has been eating most part of it in Kenya, and people depending on this maize, it end up people having anger because of the drought. That's why they have been seen mostly people encouraging let's do irrigation. That's the one thing we need to do irrigation, but we have been seeing a lot of people are not taking irrigation as serious because they only depend on rainfall, and due to changing in pattern of rainfall here in Kenya, we no longer see people having enough like maize and other uh, grocery or other product to feed themselves. That's why I think people depend on people they need to depend on. First of all, in irrigation, you need to do like irrigation. The last this year during the time you were in COP, I was able in Sharm el Sheikh. You know, Egypt is very desert, and we have been seeing the way those people have been able to develop their land doing irrigation, which is a good thing. If Kenya can copy that, I think it's going to be good. Yeah, let's if you can do irrigation, we are going to deal with this climate change effect because this is the thing, it's happening every day, every year. We have been having changing in rain pattern, and drought now is expanding everywhere. We have seen like kind of Africa, part of Africa, we have been experiencing drought. Talking about Kenya, talk about Uganda, talk about Somalia, talk about Ethiopia. So this is the thing which we are experiencing, and then including the Croatia and not Croatia, Russia and Ukraine war, which has been able also to create another loop of where we have been having a shortage of food. I think it's right time of government of Kenya to think in another method, and this I think the method which the government can think about is irrigation, which is going to save Kenya, and not only Kenya but also Africa at large.
Very interesting. The topic has just started, and Tai, you're an environmentalist. What can you say? What impact has have how are food systems influencing and being impacted by climate change, coming from an environmental perspective?
Okay, yeah. So about food, maybe there you have been found like some other like other seed they cannot grow without water, and this is due to drought. And you have been found other people that you have seen most of the people maybe they depend on maize, which sometimes maize they need a lot of rainfall instead of depending on other food which require just a small amount of water, but it can sustain this a lot of drought. That's why you find like climate change has been able to impact agriculture mostly, especially you know that Kenya depend one of the backbone of our government of Kenya is agriculture. So you find most of the people depend on agriculture. When we have this drought and we have this kind of loss and damage impact in most of the drought in most of the part of Kenya, which has led to destruction and also destroy uh, maize, different types of crops, which has been able to cause food shortage in Kenya. This end up causing a lot of people suffering, and this is due to climate change effect because you can't grow food where we don't have enough water, where we don't have enough nutrients to sustain this water, to sustain these crops. Yeah.
When you started, you mentioned that you are also an activist, and yeah, probably tell us some of the works that you have done, some of the campaigns that you've run as a way of bringing and raising awareness on the importance of farmers protecting our environment. Probably you've also visited most of these regions in our country, Kenya. Which regions, or what have you observed? What are our farmers doing wrong that is harming the environment and ending up also bringing the negative effects on climate?
The research I've been able to do here in Kenya. Yeah, I have my own organization which we're able to co-found with my friend known as Kenya Environmental Action Network. Like last year, we were able to run a project known as Bustani Garden, where we have been able to visit different schools. We were able to visit one school in Voi, another one in Eldoret, another one in Kisumu, another one in Machakos. And the reason why we were doing this project is to install a kitchen garden, and this is starting up a vegetable garden, a tree nursery, and also try to encourage, especially these kids and also the community to you to plant and also to base mostly in base plant food. And this is including fresh vegetable. The question you were able to pose mostly in this kid, you were able to ask them, can you tell us where is this vegetable coming, or where is this vegetable coming from? Most of them they were saying from the market, not from the land. So we wanted to remove that maybe that thing from this kid to tell them that this vegetable usually coming from the farm so they need to learn many tactics on how to grow, and how to sustain this vegetable, and also different types of tree, mostly indigenous. That's why we were running that project around Kenya, and we are very happy because a lot of kids they were able to learn, because we had like a simple curriculum book which we were able to state very well how to develop compost, and also how to develop a simple tree nursery, and also a nursery for vegetable, mostly for best plant food. Here we are talking about fresh vegetable without using any chemical. Also, apart from that, I'm running another project currently here in my village known as Environmental School Tour, which I usually visit school and also try to impact them, and also try to tell them more about agriculture, and also talk to them about the effect of climate change. Because if you want to tackle and to deal with this in future, because this kid are the future generation. That's why I've been going in school knowing that they are the one who are going to be the leader of tomorrow. Just try to impact them, and also try to tell them more about what is climate change. Because living in a village where people don't understand climate change is real, we need to go and build this school, and and them how to plant, how to do different kind of agriculture, because you have been finding most of the people have been based only in simple agriculture, like they doesn't have maybe growing only maize, but they have not knowing any way of growing maybe intercropping or regenerative agriculture. That's why you have been trying to impact them with this knowledge on how to do just uh, a simple method of growing this vegetable for them to sustain them, and also to give them as an of living. Yeah. And we are very happy because we have been able to visit more than 17 schools. We have been able to impact 7,000 kids and 500 teachers, which is a good project for us, especially in the community where people doesn't understand very well what is climate change and not in it fully.
Very nice, very nice. That is something nice that you're doing. 7,000 youths into agriculture. But being an expert in matters environment, which areas have you observed that farmers are not doing right, that is harming the environment? As much as you're talking about training the young people on doing kitchen gardens, probably you can mention the best practices that you advocate for as an environmentalist that are good and healthy practices that farmers can need to adapt so as not to harm the environment and that way mitigate the adverse effects of climate.
End up killing and also destroy some different types of crops or animals, because in soil we have like different types of living things, not only plant but also you have different types of animals. And in my area we usually have like these people usually burn their land before they grow or they plow the farm. So they usually like burn all the farm. That's another thing which have been destroying mostly the land. And another thing is that we have been find like most of the like kind of another farmer, they have been now like encroach the forest, which is not a good thing, because if you want to live and if you want to be able to sustain most of this agriculture, we need to have forest. But we have been finding a different kind of farmer. They have been trying to destroy the forest in order of planting their different types of crop, which is not a good thing, because currently we have been having like leaders since different presidents. They have been trying to encourage and also to advocate for planting of trees in different encroachment area and also in different sites of the area. So those are the things which I've been able to identify of how the farmer have been going wrong, just using different method of them getting benefits. So putting a profit and using this a good method of doing agriculture.
Probably, we don't want to get into politics, but what were your thoughts on the Shamba system? Because you talked about people encroaching forests and cutting down trees and to practice agriculture. What are your thoughts on the Shamba system? And also, while on that, let's talk about also the issue of overpopulation and less agriculture. What is your take on the growing population? Because like areas in Kiambu, in Kisii, right now land is scarce and people are even being told to do rooftop farming. So what are your thoughts on a large population and low agriculture?
Okay, so yeah, about what one of our deputies was able to mention, was it was not a good thing, yeah, telling people to go and maybe destroy the forest, which is not a good thing. We have what I can say is like it's not a politics, but we have our former politician. They have big lands. Even someone say one of the politicians have land more than Western province, or yeah, or different types of province. So if those can donate those land to these people, I think you're not going to have this issue of maybe having high population and less land. We have more land because I've been able to visit like different area in Kenya. We have their land which has been just staying there. These politicians, they have been able to fence it without anything getting inside. And the way I've told to travel like in different country, and I've been able to see like we have those countries which have high population, but they have been able to sustain and also coming up with a smart agriculture on how to feed their people. But here in Kenya, I think our leaders, they are not serious, and it's not a matter of population hindering agriculture in Kenya or a population hindering food shortage here in Kenya. Is that we have a good plan and a good policy which have been able to put them in the paper for this farmer or this politician to work on it. But if you have like those good policy and those good plans, they have been just staying there in offices in files because of greedy of our politician and greedy of these rich people. They don't want to give out their lands.
Discussion we are having here and yes, I don't like getting into matters politics but truth be told, if there are wrong policies that are being put in place, we need people like you to come out and question them. And yes, we'll talk about also the passing of the ban on GMOs as we continue with the interview. But before we delve deeper into this discussion, let's drift a bit and look at some of the stories that are making headlines. And I'll just need you to give me an analysis and your thoughts about some of these stories that are making headlines. One of them is that Mount Kenya University, the Nakuru campus, has been unveiled as a center of excellence for animal health, agriculture, and education science, hence a big boost to the national pursuit of food security. While unveiling the center, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Deogratius Jagani, said with the status, the campus is now better equipped to train professionals who will lead the country's agriculture sector in future. What is your take on this story about the unveiling of animal health, agriculture, and education science?
How to train. That's why in Kenya, I think what we lack is just an education of how to tackle these different things. Because if we have just an education, especially people going around, if you profession going around in different villages, educate these people on how they can do a smart agriculture. In Kenya, we'll be no longer having like a shortage maybe in different things. So for me, I think for me it's a plus. It's a good move, especially for Kenya, not only for Kenya, and also for those that institution in Nakuru. Yeah.
Yes, moving on to another story is on one from Uasin Gishu County, where more than 10,000 smallholder farmers from Uasin Gishu County are said to benefit from regenerative agricultural practices. This was during a farmers training program launched by Systema, working in partnership with the Netherlands Development Organization. Biogas equipment from Systema, in partnership with the Netherlands Development Organization, launched the Regenerative Agricultural Practices for Improved Livelihoods and Markets training program in Uasin Gishu on Wednesday. I was in Uasin Gishu some time back, I think 2 years ago, and that's one of the counties where farmers are trying to diversify from maize farming and are now doing fruit farming, such as avocado farming. Yeah, so what is your take on regenerative agriculture and that story that I've just heard?
Yeah, so I think the solution, mostly the solution which can give Kenyan a good answer is regenerative agriculture. That's why the government need to encourage not only in Wasingishu, because also I live in a border between Western and Wasingishu, and this is a good thing, especially for this farmer in Wasingishu, which mostly they have been concentrated more in maize. But if you can have that knowledge impact in these people, for me, it's a good thing, and I'm very happy for those people who are doing this, and also the NGO, which they have been trying to promote this agriculture, especially in rural area, not in towns and in different. For me, I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
And lastly is a story from out of the country. South Africa is now the most food secure country in Africa, despite numerous global threats to agriculture, including climate change, according to a new report. The country's achievement may show the way to other struggling countries in the region. Now, this is the first time a country in sub-Saharan Africa has topped the list across the continent. The report says the country has made a record leap from 70th position in 2021 to 59th on the 2022 Global Food Security Index. That is a report done by British weekly The Economist. South Africa toppled Tunisia in the continent, which is now in second place and 62nd globally among 113 countries eligible for ranking.
Hello, I can't hear you.
Did you hear me?
I think the last bit, yeah.
Yes, I was asking where is Kenya in this ranking? We need to be somewhere, you know. We Kenyans cannot miss in such reports.
Yeah, that's why, yeah, what we can bring here is just leadership. Because this year I was in Asia, and the time I was working on their street, I was able to see that they have been planting most mango and different types of fruit, most of their street. But here in Kenya, we are cutting down these types of trees. But then in Tunisia, they are planting mostly fruit trees. Because I was in the ocean, the seaside, we were having some work there for 1 week, and I decided to take a walk to Tunisia. And the time I was able to see how town it has been able to be structure having fruit trees most of the street. That's why you see them rank one of the best in terms of food. And I think in South Africa, that's now maybe the leadership that having maybe the leadership and put maybe this on how to promote and also how to develop this food. That's why in Kenya you need to have serious, especially serious cabinet secretary in agriculture and also in different things who can promote and also they can encourage people to plant and also to do a smart agriculture.
That's a very interesting point you've raised. But I also want to question, still on that issue about countries growing fruit trees on the roads. There was also some time back I was in Rwanda, and I also observed the same. But here in Kenya, would you find fruit trees just on the street, like unguarded? Like, can you find a tree on the street that has well matured fruits? Is it a matter of poverty? Is it a matter of poor leadership? Where are we going wrong? Where are we not? What are we not doing right or getting right when it comes to food security?
It's not a matter of poverty, it's just a matter of discipline and how maybe you raise people. Because in part of the Western, we have like these different types of trees, even in the streets. Here I'm talking about, I think, Mapera, guava. Uh, I've been finding guava in most of the western part in the street and up in the forest. And just go maybe a neighbor, you can plant, you can even climb in those trees and they can give you this for free. But recently, I see this maybe this tree disappear. This is because of infrastructure, of people cutting down and maybe road and other infrastructure. So I think in Kenya, there's discipline and leadership. If you can have discipline and leadership, people can see that.
Yes, as we continue with this discussion, now we get back to the linking of food systems and to climate action. You being the climate champion, what would you say is the best way to connect the top down, that's the global north, and the bottom up, which are local measures to transform food systems? How can we link or connect the top down and the bottom up measures to transform food systems?
Yeah, so maybe how we can link, especially the way you have said about the global north and also mostly local. I think you're talking about maybe global south. Yeah, we have been having like these different types of workshops. I think since long time ago, I've been seeing some people here in Kenya, especially in the ministry, that have been going in Israel to learn how to maybe to do like different types of smart agriculture here in Kenya because Israel is also one of the desert country, but they are, you usually find that they have enough food to feed their people. So yeah, it's just a matter of people having like a good resources and also a good method of how to do this agriculture. And this we can get this maybe smart and also resources maybe from outside country. Yeah, because the time I think they were talking about GMO, we have like not all GMO are bad, but we have like those smart agriculture where we can grow and also we can use this mature, the short mature maybe like doing grafting and also other things which usually shorten the maturity, especially in terms of growing these types of crop or these types of tree. Can use those resources maybe at large by combining and also learn on how other people are doing from outside country is going to be a good thing. You just need to learn and to copy maybe on which country, especially this country, maybe I can talk about Arabic country and also Israel because they are in the desert area, but they have been there are people that have not been starving or they have not been having maybe a shortage of food. And here in Kenya, we have a lot of lakes, a lot of rivers. We have one of the biggest lake in Kenya, but we have people are still suffering, which is not a good thing because it's not just lack of lack of leadership and also lack of plan and also lack of good policy, maybe to put this on paper. I can't hear you.
That's a discussion that I'll look for you for another day to discuss more about the connection between global north and global south. You seem to be so knowledgeable on that correlation between the two. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, and also maybe what I can mention one thing. Yeah, like last year we had, if you know, COP, it's usually like UN. We usually have like UN every year. Still people they usually organize a climate conference every year where leaders from around the world they usually gather to talk about climate change, agriculture, and other things. So last year, the time you were in Glasgow, they were able to come up with a document known as Glasgow Climate Impact because it was happening in Glasgow. But they didn't mention anything related to food in that document, knowing that the way of safe food also it's also one of the things which have been able to cause the global warming. So this year, I was in one of the room coding these people. They were just talking and also releasing some press release where we hear like different indigenous people and also different people from around the world. They were just talking about how agriculture and they have been able to how climate change have been able to affect especially indigenous people from South America and also other people. We have been seeing how Amazon, the forests have been cutting down high rate, which have been able to release a lot of gas compared to other countries. So most of these indigenous are saying that not all these rich countries are telling them to live, maybe not to eat meat. And since long time ago, this is the thing that have been eating and they don't have like a global warming. So here we can bring that. We have been seeing how this rich country, I'm talking about US because they usually say like US agriculture mostly growing corn to feed uh, to feed to feed their animals in large scale, and when if animals in large scale, they usually release methane gas, which is one of the things which have been able to cause global warming. So it's a matter of US using reducing their this livestock feeding of their livestock with this corn, sending this food to this country and try the best way on how they can feed this animal. Not feeding this animal a huge scale of corn, which end up creating another methane, which increasing global warming. And this usually affects country in global or South. Here I'm talking about Africa, South America, and some part of Asia.
Very interesting. You've actually changed the discussion now, and there's that article I saw about it was actually the first time at the COP27 where they highlighted the issues to do with food systems and agriculture. But I'll still look for you to have that discussion on another day. But right now, there's this campaign we're running by Markup on aflatoxins and the effects of aflatoxins, where they come from, and the crops that are mostly affected by aflatoxins. And this campaign will be highlighting some of the crops, that is peanuts, chilies, and some spices. We need to create awareness on what is the main cause of aflatoxins. I don't know if Mtai, you know the where aflatoxins arise from because I know you know aflatoxins only affect maize. Were you aware that they also affect chilies and other herbs?
First time that is also affecting other crops. Yeah.
And do you know where the aflatoxins come from? Is it from the soil, from the crop, or from the final produce from the farm?
Yeah, I think for me, actually, we have aflatoxin that should coming from the chemical, maybe chemical used to do. Yeah.
Yes, so this is one of the campaigns that you need to follow so that you get to learn more about aflatoxins, because aflatoxins they erupt from the soil. So they are usually affected from the soil all the way up to when the crop matures, and it usually comes out when the crop is not stored in a right way in the correct temperatures. So I bet I've educated you today.
I think, and this is the time I remember my friend because I have also one of my best friend in my village, but he's living in Nairobi. You have been this field, they are doing mostly campaign about aflatoxin and also try to eradicate and also to stop like different types of chemical, especially in the market. Yeah.
The campaign is being run by Markup. It has been funded by the European Union and implemented by UNIDO. You can visit the website to learn more about aflatoxins. And if you have any questions, if you're being troubled by aflatoxins in your region, that's the place to go, and you can ask questions. You can also ask us on our Facebook page, and you'll get some of our experts to be responding to some of the questions that you might be having. We'll be taking a short break, but do stay with us. Kevin will be back shortly. Let us pay some bills, do some house checks, and then we'll be back shortly with the conclusion of our interview. Yes, so let's pay some bills, and we'll be back. And welcome back to the Evening Farm Drive with me, Jackie Moore. We are having a very interesting discussion. We were talking about how we need to link and associate our food systems in the ongoing climate and mitigation efforts and talks. And we've been having a very interesting discussion here with Kevin Mtai. He's a climate champion and environmentalist. He has talked about the various campaigns that he has been running. Kevin, thank you so much for still being with us. We are almost coming to the end of our interview. Probably share with us which new innovations, as you mentioned, you've traveled to different countries, you've attended various conferences. Which new innovations can you propose, and do you say should be put as a priority as a way of dealing with the harsh climatic conditions and also helping to mitigate the harsh effects on the environment?
I've been trying maybe to look around, especially in terms of agriculture, and I've been seeing a lot of people that have been able to come up with different, especially in terms of irrigation, the best way of doing irrigation. Yeah, I think I told you I've tried to use Egypt, the way they've been doing their like a drip irrigation, mostly they've been trying to use especially drip irrigation maybe to do their crops in street, not only in street and also in farms. Also, they have been trying also to use drone, especially drone, which because of the technology. Now they have been able to develop these big drones which they can also spray water, or they can also check if you have any diseases, especially in plant animals, and also to do some count, especially counts maybe on crops, and also different initiative. And also you have been see like I think this week or the other week I've been able to see like we had one student which was able to come up with develop maybe a flower from the grass. That's now I think also a new innovation, and that's what people can try to use. And also we have been seeing a lot of people, especially here in Kenya and also around, they have been also try to use like not only depend maybe on maybe water, but you can come up with another way of conserving maybe your water, because living in an area like here in Eldoret, we have a lot of rainfall. If you have a lot of rainfall, you can how can you conserve that rainfall? Is by building maybe like a small hole inside, maybe beside maybe your shamba or your garden, and then you can store that water if for maybe for doing irrigation. Those are just a simple maybe technology I've been seeing. And also I've been able also to see a lot of people also they have been able to use like a seaweed, like to develop like some different types of seaweed inside ocean. And we have been able to see a lot of people have been harvesting this seaweed, and also people have been trying to eat. The time I was in Mombasa, I was if we have been able like this kind of people uh, doing that like farming seaweed. But I think some have been doing that in small scale farm, but not in large scale farm. So if also Kenya can do that, I think it's going to be a good thing. Yeah.
You without having a call to action, you being an environmentalist, what action would you probably call on the policymakers, the farmers, the general public? In What action should we all take so that we can start mitigating these adverse effects? Because myself, I'm currently in Kajiado, and the drought has really hit this part of the country. Most of the animals, as you walk on the street, you just see dead animals. The rain has also fallen, but in very minimal numbers. What needs to be done by farmers, the policymakers, the general public, for us to start mitigating these effects? Because experts are warning that the rainfall patterns are not changing anytime soon.
Okay, yeah. So as one of the people who have been campaigning, I think what you can do must try to make our country green. And by making our country green, I think our president have been saying most of the time, our current president has said, let's plant trees. Not only plant trees, but we need to identify which tree we need to plant. That's why we need to plant indigenous tree and fruit trees. And if you can do that, you will be able to secure and also have like it will act as a food, a security in future in to come. And also we can also encourage a lot of farmer and also a lot of people to do a plant-based food where they need to grow this indigenous vegetable, which a lot of people have been trying to escape but going mad. But we need to also to plant this indigenous and also other vegetable. And in policymaker, they need to now to put what they have been doing on paper and also try to encourage people not only to put those policy in file in their offices, but try to go ahead, especially combine with the leader, doing collaboration with our leader, and going mostly in rural area to go and educate these people, to go and educate these farmers, not only in big towns but also here. They need to go maybe in the way of say in Kajiado. They need to go there with a new method on how these people, especially in desert area or those areas which have been experiencing drought, how can they come up with a method, or how can they come up with a good smart agriculture in those areas? The way I've told you, we have been seeing a lot of people here in Kenya that have been funded by tax money, especially from the people of Kenya going abroad to go and learn in this smart agriculture in this country like Israel, Egypt, and other countries. So they need to take those knowledge and bring those knowledge, especially in the area where people are being affected by climate change, and teach them on how to mitigate and also how to adapt in different method of on smart agriculture. And also, I think this is a call for government. They need to use the resources which we have. Yeah, I'm talking about lakes and river. To use it to make sure that we have been able to do enough agriculture in this area, because we are we don't need to depend on rainfall. We need to depend mostly in irrigation. I think irrigation is the method which is going to solve this problem of food shortage here in Kenya. Yeah.
Today's edition of the Evening Farm Drive. We've learned a lot on our food systems and being our own champions in matters environment. Probably, let me ask you one final question. What pushes you to do whatever you do? Like, what inspires you and motivates you to join in these campaigns? And why do you do this?
Okay, yeah, I do this for because I love my country, I love my community, and also I love everything. And I love living in an environment which is very clean, which is good, which I can breathe fresh air. And currently, we have been able to see that we don't have a fresh air. People have been cutting down trees. That's why I'm feeling that I need to fight for the right of these people. Maybe they don't have platform, maybe they don't have like a privilege like mine, where I can travel. So that's why I've been saying let's fight for my people, especially my community, not only my community and also my country and also Africa at large. Because if we can continue fighting like this, one day change will come in Kenya.
Thank you so much, Kevin. That was Kevin Mutai. He is a climate champion and environmentalist. He's doing a lot of great things out here, talking to encouraging youth to practice better practicing habits in the agriculture divide and also on the environment. Thank you so much, Kevin. We'll be linking up with you some other time. Right now, we'll be taking a short, quick breather. When you come back, we'll be looking at agriculture in minutes. And yes, there's a lot that we have to share with you on agriculture in minutes. We'll take a short breather. Coming back is agriculture in minutes. Do stay with us. Yes, and that has been a very awesome show. Kevin Tai is just an inspiration to many young people. I wish we could have people who mentored us on these kinds of activities that young people are slowly getting into. I also hope you've learned a lot from our new segment on agriculture in minutes. You've learned a thing or two about the world's economy and the countries that are doing great in the agriculture divide. Did I say more? No, I don't think I have much more to say. I hope you've learned and gotten educated on linking food systems to the ongoing talks on the climate and mitigation and adaptation talks. Keep the conversation going on our Farmers Media page. You can also follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube at our Farmers Media. I've been your host, Jackie Moore. Let's do this again tomorrow, 3 to 5. If you have any topic you'd like us to discuss, also do comment on our comment sections on our page. And also, you can message us or text us on our numbers. This is the holiday season. We don't want to talk much. Tomorrow we'll be having another interesting show on the various indigenous vegetables that you are consuming. As you heard from Kevin, that's the way to go as a way of mitigating and dealing with the harsh effects of climate change. I've been your host, Jackie Mo. Tukutane kesho, kama ke, kama kawa. Goodbye for now.